A conflict that's been simmering for years has just boiled over into open war. Right now, the Middle East is on a knife's edge. We're seeing direct military clashes between Iran, Israel, and the United States, and things are escalating by the hour. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what's happening, who the key players are, and what could possibly come next. Day 6 of this conflict has been, well, incredibly intense. A U.S. submarine reportedly sank an Iranian warship way out in the Indian Ocean. Iran fired back, launching hundreds of missiles. At the same time, Israel has ramped up its own air campaign inside Iran. But here's the big one. Turkey, a NATO member, just intercepted an Iranian ballistic missile. That single act is pulling other major powers in the region deeper and deeper into this crisis.
Okay, so to get our heads around this, we're going to break it down into 4 key parts. First, we'll look at the real impact on the ground, both human and military. Then we'll dive into the war of words and the official responses. Third, we'll check out the signs that this whole thing is spreading. And finally, we'll analyze the big dangers looming on the horizon.
Let's start with what's happening right now, on the ground. Because beyond all the strategic moves and military hardware, this conflict has a devastating and very real human cost that's just growing every single day.
You can really see the spillover from this conflict hitting Lebanon, and hitting it hard. The health ministry there is now reporting that the death toll from Israeli airstrikes has climbed to 102. That number, it's just a stark reminder of the awful reality for civilians who are caught in the crossfire. And the impact goes way beyond the casualties. The fighting has kicked off a huge humanitarian crisis. We're talking about an estimated 300,000 people who've been forced to just pack up and flee their homes inside Lebanon. That's a massive displacement problem that's straining all their resources and creating a lot of instability.
The sheer scale of the direct fighting is pretty staggering. We've got confirmed reports of that U.S. submarine sinking an Iranian warship. Israel's chief of staff is claiming they've carried out over 2,500 strikes inside Iran. And in response, Iran says it's fired more than 500 missiles at U.S. and Israeli targets. It's gotten so dangerous that the U.S. has even suspended operations at its embassy in Kuwait. This isn't a shadow war anymore. This is all out in the open.
So while the physical war is raging, there's a whole other battle being fought. This one is about information, diplomacy, and politics. You could say words are now being used as weapons.
And here's a perfect example of that propaganda war in action. Iranian state media put out this really bold claim that their forces hit the American aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln. But U.S. Central Command came back almost immediately and shut it down, flatly denying it. They said the carrier was never attacked and it's still fully operational. It's just a crucial reminder that in a conflict like this, figuring out what's fact and what's fiction is a huge challenge. Now, a major regional power has been directly drawn in. After those NATO defense systems operated by Turkey shot down an Iranian missile, President Erdogan issued this really stern warning. It's a crystal clear message to his neighbors, especially Iran, to back down and respect sovereign borders. Turkey's trying to position itself as a stabilizing force, but its direct involvement, that's a really significant development. Meanwhile, all the way over in Washington, a really crucial political battle just played out. The U.S. Senate voted against a bill that would have limited the president's power to take military action against Iran. The vote was close, 53-47. But what it means is that the White House can continue and even potentially expand military operations without having to go back to Congress for permission.
That missile incident over Turkey immediately got people asking questions about NATO's most famous principle, Article 5. It's their collective defense clause. You've heard it before. An attack on one is considered an attack on all. This is the absolute bedrock of the alliance, and even talking about using it is one of the most serious steps you can take in international security. So, is NATO getting involved? Well, for right now, the answer is no. The NATO Secretary General made it clear that while the missile incident was serious, Article 5 is not on the table. But, and this is a big but, he also said the alliance supports the U.S. effort to take out Iran's missile capabilities. They see it as a threat to the region and to Europe. So they're walking a very fine line here, showing support without triggering a much wider war. All of this brings us to probably the most pressing question of the moment. Is this conflict actually contained, or are the shockwaves starting to pull in other nations? Let's actually look at the evidence. Yeah, the signs of a spreading conflict are pretty unmistakable. We already talked about Turkey's missile interception, but then, to the east, Azerbaijan has put its military on the highest alert after accusing Iran of a drone strike, though Iran denies it. And then there's this, which is maybe the most surprising part.
Ukraine's President Zelensky says the U.S. has asked for Kyiv's help in fighting the exact same type of Iranian-made drones being used in the Middle East. The ripples from this conflict are spreading far and wide.
So, with the fighting getting more intense and spreading to new areas, what does the strategic picture look like? What are the dangers that are lurking just over the horizon?
This forecast from U.S. Central Command, it's a real, sobering dose of reality. CENTCOM has reportedly put in a request for more intelligence personnel for deployments that could last all the way until September. That suggests that no matter what we might hope for, key military planners are getting ready for a long, drawn-out fight. When you break down what every actor wants, you can see why finding an off-ramp is so difficult. The US and Israel are pretty much aligned. They want to eliminate Iran's military and nuclear capabilities. For Iran, this is about survival and retaliation, and trying to push US forces out of the region. And then you have a key player like Turkey, which is mainly focused on just containing the spillover. With all these conflicting goals, the path ahead looks incredibly difficult.
And that leaves us with this final, critical question. With every missile strike, with every civilian casualty, that path to a diplomatic solution gets harder and harder to find. This whole crisis is just a stark warning about how fast regional tensions can spiral into a much wider war, pulling in allies and neighbors. Maybe the key lesson here is that in our interconnected world, no conflict is ever really isolated. Look, this situation is changing by the minute. To stay on top of it with the latest analysis and clear, concise summaries, make sure you subscribe to our Global Conflict Brief channel.